Hello, hello. How you all doing? I'm back from the Lord's house. The Lord's house. I did want to real quick tell you that VA's third generation, jurisdiction, they are having their women's conference right now, and they did touch on menopause and natural supplements and great health education about women's health, and it lasted almost a little over 2 hours. It was a great informative presentation that was provided by a gynecologist about the different methods and meeting those needs and depending on your age and all of this great information. So go over to the VA second jurisdiction Church of God in Christ. Lord, why am I thinking about generations? uh, well, let's talk real quick. I had to find it. It was in 2004 that something odd happened with Jay-Z and Diddy. You see, it was the first time he and B really hit the carpet together at the MTV VMA Awards. It's the first, real event they showed up together. And he hopped out the SUV, she hopped out, and then she kind of just wandered around with him. But something odd happened. You see, somehow Jay-Z ended up coming into the back of the VMAs in a black limousine with Sean P. Diddy Combs. When Diddy got out of the limo, Diddy had on a white dress shirt and it was unbuttoned, like two buttons, three buttons up. His pants were completely unzipped to the point you could see his underwear. You could see them. And his belt was just dangling and everything. You literally could hear it. And he was pulling his pants up when he got out. But I found it odd that Jay-Z got out behind him and his clothes weren't that way. And I just kind of found that odd as well. And I can tell you, they have scrubbed it from the internet. And I understood then, and I understand now that people probably thought the same thing that I thought was, isn't Jay with Beyonce now? Right? So in toxic relationships, certain things are done to prove one's allegiance to the person they're indebted to. Just like Diddy used to get rid of people and things, we also know there's also allegedly a playbook very similar with the Carters. And I'm sorry, I know y'all love Beyonce down to her last gel toenail nail polish on her feet, and I don't have a beef with you about that. But but I just wanted to say that Beyonce over time has proven to be a very sneaky, conniving, manipulative person. As we used to say back in the day, she's an S starter. She's sneaky. She's very sneaky. And she might like to make sure you don't see her hands moving. Um, did that was Diddy's MO. He was controlling a lot of people, a lot of things. He was gatekeeping and all of this stuff and using blackmail and things like that to do it. There's too many deaths associated with the Carters that are they involve music artists who are part of the same genre as the wife. I'm sorry, you can't make that, coincidence as much as you would like to. Yeah. And I don't think it was easy for Rihanna to wiggle herself out of that contract with Jay-Z. No, that wasn't easy. I think she found something to leverage, and he had to back up off of her. And Rihanna went on about her business, right? But he was much, much older than her. She was a minor. That's what people don't talk about. She was a minor. Rihanna was dealing with Jay-Z. That's very telling. But that night at the VMAs, because it confused me. I was like, he just came in the front. Why he coming in the back with Diddy? And we know from the audio I've heard that Diddy not a bottom at all. So that means men do stuff for him, men give him, you know what I'm saying? So the pants unbuckled and all of that, it very much looked like uh Jay was blowing Diddy. I've spent years trying to find this footage to show people. All they're willing to show you, it is the red carpet and when they got out of the truck. Because I'm pretty sure that all three of them realized this cannot catch light of day. And they scrubbed it. You have to remember, Diddy was tight with MTV. Diddy had a show on there, I think a couple shows, Meet the Band, and something else I think he had on there as well. I think, with all of that, you have to remember, MTV were in bed with Diddy. So if they needed something scrubbed, trust me, it was scrubbed for MTV with no problems. And it may be some nosy intern may decide to go find said footage, to show it to the world. So I really believe and feel like, and I've been thinking it, and I kind of hinted at it. I think Jay-Z, he's far more involved than the Carters are trying to make it seem. Now, I can tell you, when the Carters get under the light, they get quiet. Yeah, their entire alibi for everything, how they skate, how they get away with stuff, they don't say anything. They just disappear for a little while. She did that before when something came up and the heat was the Epstein thing. And I can tell you, okay, it was back in 1999 or 2000 where they said that Beyonce traveled to a private island to perform for a very rich man. She was on Epstein Island. She was there. Oh yeah, they were bragging about it on the radio and everything. That's how she brought in the new year. Okay, so find out which year she performed on a private island and you just hit something. But as soon as that Epstein stuff happened, the Carters got real quiet. They conveniently got quiet. Because if they don't say nothing, you don't have anything to talk about. Another thing, please stop status shaming people with HIV and AIDS. I can't describe to you how sad it is to watch someone die from HIV or AIDS. I've seen it before. I was just a child. I need for you to also remember that when they used to say in the very beginning of this crisis, health crisis, you have to remember at the very beginning, they were like, oh, monkeys. People got it from monkeys. People got it from monkeys. I reminded my mom, I said, Mom, didn't they used to say black people were monkeys? Her eyes got so big and she began to cry. She said, they did. And you're right. They were code saying to their fellow non-black people that black people were responsible for the HIV and AIDS epidemic. Because back then they were pretty open about their hateful vitriol, but right around that time they still do it, but they then started the real talking codes, and it was to the point that black people were repeating what they said. As I know, my mom used to say, and several other people, they said it came from monkeys. And then I heard my uncle, he picked me up from the hairdresser. I got a Jerry curl, and I heard him in the car saying, how they gonna say it's from monkeys? You actually want us to believe they having sex with monkeys? He didn't say sex, he said screwing monkeys. They actually want us to believe that somebody's screwing monkeys and then they got a disease. That's what he said. But he was right. That wasn't it. They were saying in code that it comes from black people. Hmm. How easily we forget. Please keep in mind that HIV/AIDS, they are health conditions, medical conditions. Um, for status shaming, I'm to the point that I believe that for status shaming, people should be penalized with at least 6 months confinement in jail. I believe that. The last little caveat I want to leave you with, it is the following. I did mention Diddy's trauma and other people's trauma. And I thought about it later on today that I want to recommend to you that you go on to YouTube and you do research for the following activity. Give me one moment, please. Let me see where I put it. My goodness. One moment, please. There it is. It is called EDMR therapy, and if you look on YouTube, they did kind of release a way for you guys to be able to do self EDMR, and it's just recommended for you to start it, and you'll be shocked how it helps with your trauma. But please understand, like, to really get out of and get rid of rewiring your mind, to get rid of the really, really heaviest part of your trauma, you will have to see a therapist in order for those sessions to take place. You can't do those on your own. You both have to work together within those sessions. So I don't want you to feel like, you know, you can do this by yourself, because you don't. Some people are not to the point that they can even verbalize what happened to them. They're not okay speaking with a therapist yet. They're not there yet. They're silently in pain. They don't know what to do with it. They don't want to talk about it. And so I believe that starting self EDMR may be a good path for you, or a good starting point for you. Just track your symptoms over the next, I don't know, track them for 2 weeks after you start doing the self EDMR. You can do that therapy every day for 2 weeks. And I would monitor myself to see how I feel, see what I notice, and if you do it consistently, you will see huge improvements. But I don't want you to think, well, I do all of this, I'm still struggling, they can't address all of it. Okay. All right. How do you like my little AI generated artwork? I created this one. It is called Silent Pain. It There's a man and a woman, because I understand and know that men and women deal with silent pain. Have a good evening.